Benjamin Franklin was an amazing man who did many great things. He lived a long time ago. From 1706 to 1790. He was born in Boston, which is in the United States. Back then, the United States was not a country yet, it was just a group of British colonies. Franklin did a lot of different jobs during his life. He was a printer, a writer, an inventor, and a politician. He was a real jack of all trades. Let's talk about some of the most important things he did. 1. Invention of the lightning rod. One of the coolest things Franklin did was invent the lightning rod. This invention helps protect buildings from getting struck by lightning. Before the lightning rod, buildings would often catch on fire during thunderstorms. But thanks to Franklin, we now have a way to keep our homes safe. 2. The famous kite experiment. You might have heard the story of Benjamin Franklin flying a kite during a thunderstorm. He wanted to learn more about electricity, and he used a kite with a key tied to it to do so. This experiment helped him understand that lightning is a form of electricity. It's a famous story, and it shows how curious and brave Franklin was. 3. Poor Richard's Almanac. Franklin was a great writer. He wrote a book called Poor Richard's Almanac. It was full of witty sayings and useful information. People loved it, and it made him famous. Some of his sayings, like early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, are still popular today. 4. Founding Father and the Declaration of Independence. Benjamin Franklin was one of the founding fathers of the United States. He played an important role in creating the country. He was even involved in writing the Declaration of Independence, which is a very important document that declared the United States' independence from Britain. 5. Diplomat in France. Franklin was also a diplomat, which means he helped make deals with other countries. He went to France and worked with the French government during the American Revolution. The French liked him a lot, and he was able to get their support for the American cause. This support was crucial in winning the war against the British. 6. The first American library. Franklin believed in the power of education. He started the first American lending library in Philadelphia. It allowed people to borrow books for free, which was a big deal back then. This library eventually became the Library Company of Philadelphia, one of the first libraries in the United States. 7. The University of Pennsylvania. He also helped create the University of Pennsylvania, which is a well-known university in the United States. Education was very important to Franklin, and he wanted to make it more accessible. 8. Postmaster General. Benjamin Franklin served as the Postmaster General of the American colonies. This was an important job because it helped improve mail delivery. He even created a more efficient postal system, which made it easier for people to send letters and packages. 9. Abolition of slavery. Franklin was against slavery and became an advocate for its abolition. He wrote articles and petitions against the slave trade. He believed that all people should be treated with respect and kindness, regardless of their skin color. 10. The Franklin stove. Franklin also invented the Franklin stove, which was a much safer and more efficient way to heat homes. Before his invention, many houses used open fires, which were dangerous and didn't heat the house evenly. The Franklin stove was a big improvement. 11. Contributions to science. Besides his famous kite experiment, Franklin made many contributions to science. He studied the nature of electricity and was the one who coined the terms positive and negative to describe electric charges. His work in the field of electricity paved the way for many future discoveries. 12. His autobiography. Franklin wrote his autobiography, which is like a story of his life. In it, he talks about his successes and mistakes and shares valuable life lessons. It's a book that people still read today to learn from his experiences. 13. A man of many talents. Franklin was a very talented person. He was known for his humor, his wisdom, and his practicality. He was a man of common sense, and people respected him for that. He had a saying for almost every situation. Benjamin Franklin was a true American hero. He did so many great things and left a lasting legacy. He helped shape the United States and make it the country it is today. He was a true Renaissance man, and his contributions to science, literature, and politics are still remembered and celebrated. Benjamin Franklin was one of the most important people in American history. He was a scientist, inventor, author, statesman, and diplomat. He helped to found the United States and was a signer of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. He also served as the first Postmaster General of the United States and as the first ambassador to France. Franklin was born in Boston, Massachusetts, in 1706. He was the 15th of 17 children. His father was a candlemaker, and Franklin helped him in the shop when he was young. At the age of 12, Franklin was apprenticed to a printer. He learned to set type and print newspapers and pamphlets. In 1723, Franklin ran away from his apprenticeship and went to Philadelphia. He found work as a printer and soon became one of the most successful printers in the city. He also began to write and publish his own works. In 1727, Franklin founded the Junto, a club where men could meet to discuss philosophy and science. The Junto was a success, and Franklin became known as a leading intellectual in Philadelphia. In the 1730s, Franklin began to experiment with electricity. He invented a lightning rod, which protected buildings from lightning strikes. He also wrote a book about electricity, which became one of the most popular science books of the time. In the 1740s, Franklin became involved in politics. He served in the Pennsylvania Assembly and was a vocal critic of British colonial rule. In 1757, Franklin was sent to London to represent Pennsylvania in a dispute with the British government. He stayed in London for 9 years, and during that time he became a well-known figure in British society. In 1766, Franklin returned to America. He was elected to the Second Continental Congress, which was considering whether to declare independence from Great Britain. Franklin was a strong supporter of independence, and he helped to draft the Declaration of Independence. After the war, Franklin was sent to France as the first American ambassador. He negotiated a peace treaty with France and helped to secure French support for the United States. He also helped to promote American culture and science in France. Franklin returned to the United States in 1785. He was elected president of the Pennsylvania Convention, which was drafting a new constitution for the state. He also served as president of the Constitutional Convention, which drafted the Constitution of the United States. Franklin died in 1790 at the age of 84. He is buried in Christ Church Burial Ground in Philadelphia. Franklin's legacy. Franklin left a lasting legacy on the United States. He was one of the founding fathers of the country, and he helped to shape the American government and society. He was also a scientist, inventor, author, and statesman. He made significant contributions to many fields, including science, politics, literature, and diplomacy. Franklin is also remembered for his wisdom and his practical advice. He wrote many proverbs and sayings, many of which are still popular today. Some of his most famous quotes include, "A penny saved is a penny earned." "Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise." "Necessity is the mother of invention." "Tell me and I forget." "Teach me and I remember." "Involve me and I learn." Either write something worth reading or do something worth writing about. Franklin was a complex and fascinating figure. He was a man of many talents and interests. He was also a man of great wisdom and integrity. He is one of the most important figures in American history, and his legacy continues to inspire people around the world today. Additional information. Here is some additional information about Benjamin Franklin. Franklin was a self-taught man. He never attended college, but he learned a great deal from reading and from talking to other people. Franklin was a prolific writer. He wrote essays, articles, books, and letters on a wide range of topics. His writings are still read and studied today. Franklin was a Freemason. He joined the Freemasons in 1731 and became a Grand Master of the Pennsylvania Lodge in 1734. Franklin was a philanthropist. He donated money to many charities and public institutions. He also founded the University of Pennsylvania. Franklin was a humanitarian. He was a strong advocate for the abolition of slavery and for the education of women. Franklin was a truly remarkable man. He was a scientist, inventor, author, statesman, diplomat, and philanthropist. He made significant contributions to many fields, and he left a lasting legacy on the United States. He is an inspiration to people around the world